Hey, everybody. GameHounds podcast. Oop, wrong tab. GameHounds podcast. We're just finishing up our pre-show, getting ready for the regular audio show. So yeah, we're here. Got Nick. We have no Andrew today. He is off. Don't forget to like and subscribe this. Well, if you're watching, Nick's camera is going from okay to not okay, but
Is it? I have nothing else. I can reboot at any point to try to fix it.
No, it seems to be all right. I mean, we'll work
just
with it.
Let me know.
Yeah,
Let me know
it's
if
all
it
of
ever
a
gets
sudden
too
went
bad.
total shit again. I don't know what's going on with your Frank. So,
Okay, well, you hold it down. I'm gonna reboot. I'm just gonna take this.
oh, all right. You're gonna take it. All right, fine.
Yes, I'm gonna reboot to try to solve it rather than be a
go
blob.
go reboot. Do what you got to do. I'm gonna go set up the show. Hi, everybody in the chat room. This is gonna be awesome. So let's see what else is going on. I don't know if you've been watching, but on our YouTube stream, we had I have finally gotten OBS. It took some finagling, but I finally got it to work, and I'm now streaming our playthrough of Crusader Kings 3 that I'm doing with Nick of Ivar the Boneless, and I have totally upped my game. And if you want to check it out, go to the YouTube vids. You will see Ivar the Boneless #3, and giving you historical background. And essentially, we're not playing a historical playthrough at all. We are not role playing this, but I figured if you're gonna fuck with history, the least you should do is know your history before you fuck with it, which is what we're doing. So, I am telling the story of Ivar the Boneless and all the things he did, which is thank you. You see right there is the link right there. Yeah, and it's actually didn't turn out nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, because my computer it's a few years old, and it is a Mac, which makes it way more challenging. And it is also one of those, all built-in Macs with the single screen, so you can't have a second screen, which makes it a little more challenging as well. But I managed to make it happen. So yeah, check it out. It's not horrible. Not the worst thing. It's not the greatest, but I'm learning and it's funny. I am not going solo this week. Nick is rebooting his computer and I am waiting for him to come back. But in let's see, what other interesting news do I have? Went out on Halloween. We had a drive-in theater drag show. Last night that was 6 hours long, 6 hours of drag performances and acrobatics and fire throwers, and it was really, really fun, but it was long. It was me and the hubby in the car for 6 hours, and the dog, because we brought the dog, because we figured if we're going to be there for 6 hours, we should at least have the dog. He just sacked out in the back. He was fine. But it was a lot of sugar. It was us, and we did have dinner and we had snacks, but we also had a lot of sugar. There were Oreos, there was tiramisu, there was Cheez-Its. It was, yeah, my stomach is really giving me a hard time. Corey Wallace wants to remind us that the ESO still has a Halloween event until November 3rd. Okay. I may come back into it soon. I'm my playthrough. I think I have officially won my playthrough of creation of Crusader Kings, because I have played. I started out as a lowly duke in Ireland, and I have now taken over all of Ireland, all of Scotland, all of England. I'm about to take over all of France, and then I am going to, and I'm actually simultaneously going after the Holy Roman Empire. So I'm pretty well slaying literally in that game, I am slaying everything. I have something like 100,000 soldiers, whereas like 2,000 is a pretty good number. And I have 100,000 soldiers. I am by far the great superpower of the world that everyone is afraid of, which is great. Is nobody's going to fuck with me. But it's also a downside because anybody that I'm friends with is asking me to go fight their wars. Like the Pope is constantly asking me because it's like, oh, we have 150,000 soldiers. I'm like, I'm 110 of them. It's like, yeah, we have 150 soldiers, 150,000 soldiers to come after whoever. So he's constantly having me go over in crusades, which are normally not a bad thing, except we've gotten to this age now where the crusades are in the deep, deep east, like far, far east. So I'm having to sail all the way across the world and then march for, 3 months after I get off the ships in order to get where he's doing his crusade. And I'll leave with 100,000 soldiers and I will show up with 5,000 soldiers because they all died on the way. So it's like, fuck this. I am not going to kill off all my soldiers for you to have a crusade. But, he's constantly insisting he bring my 100,000 soldiers. So Nick is not coming back. This is not good. I am texting Nick. Nick? Question mark. You coming back? Maybe he just took the day off. It could happen. If that happens, I will just hit the news by myself. So at least you guys have been updated because there's a lot going on. It's a big, big week. We are 9 days away from the release of the Xbox Series X. We are now 11 days away from the release of the PlayStation 5. And I actually got a notification. I'll bring this up during the news. I got a notification from Best Buy where I got my Xbox, one of my Xbox pre-orders. I got a notification that I have to go pick it up and I've got to make an appointment. And my choices were 6:30 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m., or 9:30 a.m. And Tuesdays I work and I am not getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go out to Best Buy at 6:30 to pick up an Xbox. He says, yeah, rebooting. Everything is loading back up now, he says. So he'll be here shortly. Well, I could do solo. There would have been a time that this would have put the fear of God into me, but that's not happening anymore. So let's see. In other news that is completely not related to gaming and sort of related to gaming, today, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of UK, shut down, completely locked down England again. I should say Prime Minister of England because he's not in the UK, but yeah. Prime Minister of England has shut down England again because of increasing cases of coronavirus, which is going to be real interesting because, of course, they're having their Xbox and PlayStation releases in just a few days as well. So, and a bunch of these companies that these places where people purchase stuff are not what they are calling, what do they call it? Click and collect, which is you buy online and then you just go pick up. We call it, pick up orders. Many of these companies don't have pickup orders programs available. It was supposed to be you go into the store and pick it up. So it's getting a little interesting. Thank you. Yep. 4-week England lockdown, which is right over the release windows for both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 in England. So we'll see how that's going. I have heard that I guess there's two big companies that are doing it, Game, and I want to say Smythe's. And I've heard that Game has not previously had a click and collect program, but they are working on it, where people will make an appointment, click and collect, they buy online, they pay online, they make an appointment to collect, and then they collect it at the curb. We call it curbside pickup. That's what we call it in the United States. But yeah, so they're having to figure out what to do with curbside pickup with just a few days, really, not even weeks, days notice. Here he is. Nick, you back.
Does it look like, did it do anything?
All right, your sound. Oh no. Your sound, it's not you, it's me. It's my sound because of my settings. Stand by. It has to do with the OBS. And I really don't want to restart the show. Shit. I wish you hadn't restarted now. But you look better.
Okay, that's something.
Let's see. How do I do this? Sound. Oh, I hope this doesn't screw everything.
Oh shit, that's right. ESO has a Halloween event. I completely forgot about that.
What? Yeah.
ESO.
Yep. All right, now talk.
Test. Just
okay. All right. That's better. Bless you.
Okay. I've got to close all the shit that pops up automatically. But Google Music Manager, shit, that's not even, Google doesn't even use that anymore, man.
Yeah, Rain Stevenson, it's not Nick's problem. It's my problem because of OBS, which was the big thing I had to struggle with because I use a Mac. In order to get the sound from a Mac into OBS, you have to kind of do some shenanigans with third-party software in order to make the display sound go through OBS. And in order for me to have that, it's been doing things to my sound, not your sound that you get from anything, but into where it plays sound in my head. Nick was like it was pulsing. And then super high. So Nick sounded like this all the time.
Just sucking down some helium.
Hi, it's Nick. Hi. So,
I'm glad. Thank you, AC Wraith. I look less like a melting Oz witch. That was my goal.
All right. So, you talk now. I've been already talking too much. I have to start the actual audio show because yeah, I was normally do this while you and Andrew talk, but not today.
Well, I can't say Discord is one of those things that is automatically trying to start an update now. And this is the first time I actually used Discord. After our show last week, I played some Among Us with Andrew. And I'll talk about that.
Yeah, we need to talk
about that in a bit, but Discord is pretty interesting. Like, it's the first time I downloaded it and used it, and I can see why it's so popular. Just it overlays itself on top of whatever you're playing, and just offers a very easy, like, chat, both audio chat and text chat system overlaid on top of any game. Like, it's a universal chat system, which is necessary in a PC ecosystem where you've got Steam, you've got Origin, you've got what's Activision's Activision Blizzard one, their thing. Ubisoft has their own launcher. Like, everything has their own launcher. And yeah, Discord, clearly they had a good idea of just having a chat function that will overlay itself on top of all those different streaming things.
Right. And do as they said in MASH, do one thing, do it very, very well, and then move on. And that's the thing. They do one thing, they do it really, really well, way, way better than anybody else.
Yeah. It was easy to use too. And what was interesting too is there is a GameHound server for Discord.
Yes, there is. Haven't done much with it.
Yeah.
AC Wraith, if you want to run our Discord, I will totally let you do that. You can make it anything you want. I mean, other than pornography or like,
Well, now what's the point?
just don't make it a terrorist cell and we're going to be happy.
What was interesting about using it though is using Discord like a day after that whole PlayStation UI video where they were showing off what you could do with it, and then using Discord for the first time and realizing like, oh, this can do everything Sony was making all a big deal about.
Right, exactly.
It was just the ability for friends to stream whatever they're playing. Because like in the chat, 2 people were streaming, and so I hopped between watching someone play League of Legends and watching someone else play Overwatch, and then I just hopped out and talked with people. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see the consoles like work to catch up to where the PC is, but also doing it in a way that might be more unified. Like you can at least in theory, the PlayStation can at least offer like a more anyone using that console can do these things. So it's it was cool. Discord, good service.
Yeah.
Also, on the positive, updates way faster than Steam. Fucking Steam is set to every single time I reboot, Steam loads up, it spends goddamn 5 to 10 minutes updating. Every single time you start it, it takes like 10 minutes to update. I don't even think there's an update. Just take 10 minutes to check that it's on the most recent update. Fucking Steam is like it's getting like weirdly bulky and unwieldy in its size and
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we go live?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this.
Video games, modern culture, and technology. And these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
All right. Mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 569. It is November 1st, 2020. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. We do not have an Andrew Smith today. He had to take the day off. But we're here bringing you news, information, reviews as we always do. We have our Patreon, patreon.com/GameHounds. That helps support our video chat. By the way, we are live on video right now on YouTube under GameHounds Vids. That's VIDS as in videos, or on Twitch as The GameHounds, or live on Facebook as The GameHounds. So check us out if you want to see us and you're listening to us live right now. But if you're listening to us after the fact, you can go there, and if you want to watch the stream there after the fact, you can as well. How are you, Nick? How's things?
I'm good.
How was your Halloween? Did you do anything fun?
I watched a ton of horror movies.
Yeah.
I think I watched like 6 movies, and then interspersed throughout them were various Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes, because Disney Plus had like a playlist of those. So that was good. I work my way through that watch list that only ever gets bigger and never gets smaller.
Mm-hmm. I was telling everybody in the YouTube before you got on that I went to something that I have never done, and it's really kind of the first night out we have had since March. And we'd had the lockdown. Kevin and I went to a drive-in Halloween show that was pretty much the Illuminati of drag in California, from Los Angeles to San Francisco. All drag artists. and acrobats and flame artists and yeah, pretty killer stuff. And it was 6 hours long. Well,
Wow.
the show wasn't 6 hours. We had to arrive at 5:45. I think that thing kicked off at like 7:45. So we were 2 hours in the car eating food and hanging out and waving at people for other people next door to us in the other cars and just kind of listening to music. They had a DJ there and he was playing. So, we just kind of hung out. And then from about 7 o'clock until midnight, it was almost entirely the whole time it was a show, and it was awesome. They were streaming it on Twitch, by the way. If you want to see what I saw, you can go to Princess Forever on Twitch. That's Princess 4 EVR. And it was their Halloween drive-in show, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I got a new appreciation of how hard drag is. It is not easy. There's a lot into it. So yeah, let's see. Corey Wallace says news, abuse, and comedy of the week in weather from Henrietta Hippo and the Gray Block. Oh,
yeah,
Henrietta Hippo. She was my favorite. So, what you been playing? Anything interesting? I'm sorry I could not join you last week on Amongst Us. I
know you were doing something with other friends. I feel slighted. I'm insulted.
Well, you should be.
We were both insulted. We were both like, "What the fuck? This is inexcusable."
Yeah. I was actually having a real social day at a friend's house. We were drinking beer and eating chips and talking, and it was really nice.
Insulting. Anyway,
thank you.
Me.
That's it right there. There's the link if you want to watch it. It's there. There were some that were, oh my god, good.
I will actually save that. But yeah, so after the show last week, me and Andrew played some Among Us with some other people that he knows on Twitch. Not Twitch, Discord. And yeah, that game is really, really fun. He's played a bunch, so he knew various modes. So we were waiting to like play the official version, which is where there's an imposter among you. And okay, so to back up, what the game is, a set of number of people, like I think you could do like maybe 4 to 10 or something. I don't know the exact number, but you have a group of people. Depending on the size, 1 to 2 will be imposters. Everyone else is given tasks to do, where they have to run around the ship, complete these tasks to basically, fix the ship. The imposter goes around and tries to kill each people one by one without getting caught. And they also have the ability to sabotage different aspects of the ship. They have the ability to move through vents so that they can jump from areas of the ship very quickly. And whenever a dead body is found or whenever someone has an emergency, they can call a meeting. And that sort of takes you out of this exploration mode and into a screen where you just discuss with people. And you discuss what you found, what you saw, who you suspect.
You can't talk to each other while you're playing the actual game. Everybody is silenced. And you can only talk when you get into the conference.
Yes. Although there's no like mechanical silence thing. It's mainly just, hey, look, don't talk. You could mute yourself, and some of the people did mute themselves, and other people didn't say anything. But yeah, so that's basically game. And the humans are trying to flush out the imposters, because after every discussion, you have a chance to vote, and the person who gets voted on the most will be blasted into space. And if you blast out the imposters, then you win the game. So what's interesting about this is whoever's hosting the game has very, very fine detail control over all of these mechanics, to the point where you can choose how many tasks someone has to do in order to win. You can choose the vision cone. Like if you're watching this video, as the person is running around the environment lights up and darkens depending on their view. So like if you're at a corner, everything in the hall going forward is going to be lit up, but everything around that corner is going to be dark. So you can't actually see what's around that corner. You can control that vision cone in the settings. You can make it super small or you can make it super big. So one of the things that we did while waiting for more people to come in and play is played a game that they called Tag, which is where all of the humans, it's kind of a reverse of the normal game in that the humans have a big vision cone, but the imposters have a very, very tiny vision cone, as small as you can make it. And the point is that the imposters, everyone knows who the imposter is because it's basically a game of tag. The imposter is it, and they have to run through and try to kill the people before they complete the tasks. And the speed of the game is increased. Like if you're watching the video, they're at normal speed, but they increase the speed to make you run twice as fast. And so how that ends up playing is at the beginning, the humans scatter and start trying to complete the tasks, while the imposter just zips around trying to find people. Like, oh shit, where are they? Where shit, where are they? Where shit, where are they? And trying to find someone. And because there's a timer on the kills, and because their vision cone is so small, you get into a lot of fun situations where the imposter is running around and just out of the corner of their vision sees a human run by, and it's like, oh shit, I need to go chase him down. And it also leads to some moments where a human can be hiding in the corner of a room, and because the imposter's vision cone is so small, they can enter that room, think it's empty, and then leave. And so there were a lot of cool moments like that of people hiding from the imposter as they chase them down. And that was a game mode that they called Tag, which was really fun. And then once we got more people, we played the actual game mode where it's slower. You're meant to, throw suspicion on other people, and that if you've played any type of these imposter games, some of the more popular ones were Werewolf, Secret Hitler, Avalon. Those are a bunch of the board imposter games that I've played at PAX. It's just like one of those, and it's fun because you have people lying their teeth off to your face to try to get their goal.
So I was watching Hummy's VR Comedy, which is one of the subscriptions I have on YouTube, and they were playing it in VR, and it's really funny. It's fun to watch in VR.
What does that look like?
It's you just see what's in front of you. You are that person, and it's
really
funny.
It's a first person. It's POV.
POV.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it looks really fun.
That's kind of wild.
Yep.
So yeah, Among Us. Turns out it's a really cool game. Popular for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, it deserves the popularity that it has because it's a simple but well-made imposter game. Yeah.
Cool. I'm like I said, I'm sorry I didn't play it with you. And on top of it, it's not Mac friendly. So I would have had to, set up my laptop and, hooked up my Xbox controller and the whole 9 yards. Not that that would have been horrible, but by the time I got back, I'm sure you were done. So let's see. Anything else you played?
Yeah, I played in the interest of Halloween, I played Carry On. Carrion, like the bird, it's a carrion bird, right? Carrion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is a gloriously gory pixel art kind of platformer exploration game. It's kind of a weird thing in that it almost looks like it should be an action game, but it's fairly easy for the most part. Uplay has a weird science experiment broken out of that broke out of its cage. You are this hideous blob of like red tentacles, and you move about really, really fast. Like you point the control stick in a direction, and a whole bunch of tentacles just instantly shoot out in that direction, attach to the nearest wall, and fling you across the room there. Like you move really fast, and you're kind of meant to just go through the level, kill all the humans that you see, and try to find your way out of this science facility. As you go through the game, you can find more pieces of yourself to make yourself bigger and give yourself new abilities. And when you encounter some humans that have guns, they can hurt you, and you can eat them. You can eat their bodies to get your health back. The video has the guy just taking these bodies and flinging them all around. And it's interesting how complicated it gets. And for the most part, it's easy. But then you run into some situations where it's genuinely difficult because you'll have humans that have flamethrowers or shields, so that if you attack them directly from the front, they'll just put up a shield and you won't be able to get to them. So you have to kind of time it so that you come at them from above or below or behind. You can't just attack from the front. So it does lead to situations where you feel like the alien from Aliens, where you're in the vents, crawling along, watching a guy, waiting for him to get underneath you, then grabbing him, flinging him around, throwing his body into the other guy, then swooping in and like consuming both of them. And it's cool. What's really neat about the art, and it kind of makes me excited for what the pixel art games will look in the new generations, because what this game does is it's not only like really detailed pixel art, but they apply a lot of effects, like pixel effects, so that it took me a while to realize this, but your blob monster is constantly bleeding as it moves. And at first I thought that all the blood on the screen comes from the guys when I kill them. No, that comes from me. Like if you hold the control stick in a direction, it only does it when you move. So if you stay still, you're not going to be bleeding. But if you hold the control stick against the wall, you'll see like this pool of blood appear under you and start to like drip down the level. And it's a little effect that honestly, like, it took me several hours into the game to even realize this was happening. But it just has that effect of, creating a nice, good, gory mess of a monster, right? As I go through the level, I change it, and it becomes this like big fucking bloody mess. Oh, I'm making the world red, in a very neat way. And that's an effect that it took me a while to notice, but it does add to the atmosphere, because you can really see where you've been and where you've yet to go. And also just the effect of, having all this blood everywhere. It's a mood setting. It feels like you are doing your thing. One of the things the level design of the game is the one area that I kind of take issue with, and I don't know if it's genius or bad. So, like as I said, you move through the game very, very quickly. And for the most part, it feels linear. Like the levels do wrap around themselves in interesting ways, but for the most
Nick, we just lost you. You lost your sound. Your sound just cut off. Is it your headset that got turned, put into sleep mode?
Okay.
All right, you're back.
For some reason, it just muted the mic, and then I just clicked the unmute button at the bottom of the screen, and it unmuted me. For some reason, the browser just muted me. But so the levels are kind of labyrinthine, but the way that you go about them is kind of linear. And it's only after you get different, you start the game, you go through an area, you see the paths you can't take, you get a new ability, and then you go back through the level, now going through those different areas, and then you exit someplace different. Like, that's the general progression of the game. But the way that it works is it constantly feels like I don't quite know where I'm going, because it's so labyrinthine. Like the the way that you move through the like little tiny vent, through this vent, and how each room is kind of a puzzle that you have to solve, it gets to some moments where I'm not sure where to go, and I'm not sure if I need a new ability. I'm not sure if I'm just missing like a direction. At one point, I didn't know where to go, and so I ended up just looking up a walkthrough video to try to figure it out. Turns out there was literally a little switch. Like it was just a switch right there in the middle of the screen. But my mind just didn't see it, and so I ended up going through like these 3 screens over and over and over again, trying to find the path forward. And things like that happened multiple times where I wasn't quite sure where forward was. Like it feels like the game is constantly pushing me forward, but then there's also there's a completionist aspect to it where each zone, because the game is split up into like you got science facility A, science facility B, the gardens, the nuclear facility, you know, all these different levels. Each of them houses like a secret room with like 1 or 2 upgrades to your monster. You can get through that level without finding all the upgrades. Like you will find the new abilities that you need to progress, but then you can also get things like increased health and other abilities. And you don't have to find those. And a lot of times I didn't find those. And part of me wants to go back through the level and find everything. You know, I want to treat it like a Castlevania game where I want to explore the map 100%, except there is no map. And so trying to go back through this world feels fucking impossible because it's such a labyrinth, and the game is so focused on like pushing you forwards. Trying to go backwards feels like rushing against feels like fighting against a rushing river. And so at a certain point, I just kind of had to give up and realize, okay, the things that I miss are things that are not necessary to progress. So fuck it. Like if I miss something, I'm never going to find it again. If I miss a secret room, I will have to start the game over for a chance to find it again. And that was kind of frustrating just for someone like me who wants to, you know, get 100% and has this completionist tendency. That was a little annoying. But for the most part, just the act of playing the game is fun because you move through it really fast. The combat and the kind of the combat puzzles of trying to figure out, how do I fight this drone, this mech, and this flamethrower guy all at once? It's neat. And just I appreciate, you know, any game that wants to do an homage to Alien. That's right up my alley.
Especially if you're rooting for the alien.
Yeah. So that's fun. Like it's a good thing to just kind of sit down and play, but you cannot play the game as a Metroidvania, even though it feels like it takes a lot of inspiration from Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, anything else?
I think that's it.
Shall we hit the news? Because I haven't talked on the audio stream. Creation Kings 3. Oh, sorry. I keep wanting calling it Creation Kings. Crusader Kings 3. If you are interested in seeing, I have been going through a gameplay with Nick. Nick picked the character. I've been playing it, and we've been kind of walking through it. We get into moments of when there are decisions to be made, and I'm not really quite sure what to do. I will consult with Nick. He will.
I will always give you the worst advice and push you down the worst path.
Yeah, as evidenced by the fact of this most recent gameplay, we started out the whole thing in a fucked up situation that we managed to get ourselves out of.
Yeah,
if you'll notice.
And that's what makes it fun is seeing everything go wrong and trying to work your way out of it. That's the Breaking Bad formula for good storytelling.
Right. We've
And I
we've
do
got our very weak king on the throne of Alba that we
I do
forced the king of Alba not to do, and he's got the bubonic plague, so he's going to die very soon. So our guy is going to be on the throne, and we are going to convert him to our religion. So
I
it's
also
going to be a nice
appreciate the
setup
fact that
for our place to be.
most of the last game was us trying to get this woman nominated as, was it Queen?
Yeah, Queen of
Yeah,
Scotland, essentially.
basically nominating her as Queen of Scotland, and I made you choose the oldest woman who's closest to death.
Oh, she
So
wasn't close to death. She was actually fairly
wasn't.
young, but she had typhoid. She had
Okay,
typhus.
okay. That's
So
why
she
she
was
looked bad.
sick.
Her
Yeah, that's why she
image in
looked
the thing was like, oh, you look like you're gonna die soon.
Yeah, and she did.
Yeah,
She did
that's
die
right.
before we got
Because
her nominated.
that's right. We were like, oh, I want her, and we worked to get hooks on everyone so that we could force them to vote for Miss Typhoid, and then Miss Typhoid went and fucking died on us, and we're like,
Yeah.
shit.
And then I was
Right.
just about to leave, and I happened to notice that the king had that the king had bubonic plague, and the one he was gonna vote for, his son that he was voting for, and that everybody else was voting for him because he was the king, and he'd said, I want this son to be my heir. And he had typhoid too. So that was going to wipe out the whole thing. So I was like, yeah, let's see if we can take care of that. We did. We called in all of our hooks, got everybody to vote, and now our chosen guy is going to be King of Alba, and he doesn't hate us, he doesn't like us, but he doesn't hate us as much, and he's got some pretty serious character flaws. So we know that we're going to be able to get hooks on him and force him to convert, so that when we take over Alba, we can it'll be much easier to take over Alba now that he's going to be on the throne. We've elected a weak king, and then we're going to take over Scotland and be king of Scotland. Because
So
that's
yeah,
what we
that's
do.
fine.
So if you want to see that, it is on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. The best one right now is Crusader Kings Ivan the Boneless #3. And yes, we'll put the link. Well, we've already seen it in YouTube, but yes, just go to our GameHounds vids page and go to Crusader Kings 3 to our GameHound vids and look for Crusader Kings 3 Ivar the Boneless #3. So, because we've played them already twice, so that would be the third time. And on top of it, I add a bunch of history of the real Ivar the Boneless, not just the one that you've seen on Vikings. That's not the real Ivar the Boneless. It's sort of the real Ivar, but not really. And what he did and how he did it it's a pretty cool story. So we're halfway through that story. So, anything else before we hit the news? Because we got a lot of news to talk about.
No.
All right. So let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds News, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick DiNicola. And our first item is...
I just have to start with this downer just because it hits close to my heart. Sean Connery has died at 90 years old. So he fucking lived a good long time. But yes, the original Bond has finally passed.
And the what was the name of the dragon in what was the name of that show with
Dragonheart?
Dragonheart, the name of
I don't know the name of the dragon.
What was the name of the dragon in Dragonheart? Oh, he was such a good voice actor.
Drogo?
No, it wasn't Drogo. Maybe was it Drogo?
I don't know.
Dragon!
I feel like a Game of Thrones thing.
No, I think that was Game of Thrones.
Drago.
Yeah, Drago. Such a shame. Who would have thought that Keith Richards would outlast Sean Connery?
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, honestly, of all like the celebrity deaths of 2020, his is like, okay, that's that seems about right. It's like, yeah, he was 90. Also, like the past several years, like I know he's not been doing well. It's like, okay, that seems like it was more than
That's
his
fair.
time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The other people, what was it? Chadwick Boseman and the basketball player. I forget who.
Why do I not know what
He
basketball
died in a
player died?
helicopter crash.
Oh, Kobe Bryant. Not Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. I knew it was
what's Kobe
K.
Bryant?
Yeah, I knew it was K. That's right. Yeah, those were like, what the fuck? So
Did he die? Sorry, I just ate ice. That was so bad. Hold on. Wasn't thinking. I don't know why it occurred to me that was a good idea.
you're gonna eat some ice and then ask a question.
Right. Kobe Bryant, was that in 2020?
I think it
Or
was.
was that 2019?
I think it was 2020. I think it was
Go
like
chat room. What year
March or
did Kobe
something.
Bryant die? Why does it feel like it was last year?
Because this has been a long year.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. It's a really long year.
Yes.
Yeah. So
January 26th.
All right, there you go.
Started off with that.
We should have known. Should have known right there that 2020 was just going to be fucked up.
Yes. So that was just my bad news, and then I have mostly good news left.
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to?
Oh, I can do some mine. All right, my first item is, let me pull up my notes here. First item is, we'll take Sean Connery off of the screen. New report came out, or it was revealed this week. And it was done by a company called Rise at 7. And they looked at Google data and online market share country by country to see which countries were more interested in PlayStation or Xbox. And maybe no surprise, the vast majority of the world is far more more interested in PlayStation. PlayStation dominated 161 countries studied. 148 countries prefer PlayStation based on market share. Of those 13 that prefer Xbox, China, New Zealand, and Mexico are the biggest. Now, that's not to say that there is overwhelming interest or diminished interest in Xbox. In fact, most of the contests in most countries is very, very close. For example, Chinese gamers are about 55% in favor of Xbox versus 45% for PlayStation. New Zealand is 51% for Xbox versus 49% for PlayStation. Mexico is 63% Xbox. Smaller countries where the Xbox really dominates, Afghanistan prefers Xbox by a whopping 90%. American Samoa also is hugely in favor of Microsoft.
What's the US?
The US is about 57% in favor of PlayStation, as well as UK is the same number, more or less. Canada is 56% in favor of PlayStation.
I mean,
so it's not like it's, it's not an absolute. It's like everybody PlayStation, nobody Xbox. It's kind of like mostly 50-50 for the rest of the world, with some areas that there's a little.
That makes sense, because looking at the history of them, I know the 360 started off going back to that. Like, PlayStation was really big. Microsoft came in with the 360 and offered like a really good competition, and Sony kind of stumbled with the PlayStation 3. But by the end of that generation, Microsoft had like their stranglehold on the US, and I know PlayStation was much more popular in Europe. Like generally is like PlayStation, Europe preferred PlayStation, America preferred Xbox. That's generally how it was, like, if you want to be super reductive. But with the generation that came after, with Xbox One, Microsoft lost that footing.
Right.
And so PlayStation, they didn't lose their footing. Microsoft did. And they've been working to recoup that, and I think they've done a pretty good job of it going in. So this just makes sense. Like, this is not reflective of things how they stand. This is reflective of the perception that has dogged them for the past generation.
Right. Let me pull up so that you can see.
In theory, if more people are able to buy an Xbox than a PlayStation, that could very easily get turned around.
Right. Exactly. I'm sorry, I'm not pulling it up. I meant to
Although I
have
think
that.
both. I was talking to a friend, and both consoles are all sold out as of this moment.
Oh
still.
yeah.
But he was saying that he believes that once they are both released, there will be a bunch of online retailers will suddenly have stock, because they're probably holding back a lot of stuff in order to give it to physical retailers, right? They don't want to say, oh, the PlayStation is out on the 12th, go to Target, except Target doesn't have any. Like, they don't want to run to that situation. So they're probably not putting things up for pre-order because they want to have that stock in order to give to physical retailers. So once they have that and they can give all those things to retailers, you'll probably see more things come online again.
Right. Yeah, you can see that it's everything that's white is PlayStation, everything that's black is Xbox. But that it's a bit misleading in that
when you do the binary thing, like over 50%, that really does skew it incorrectly. It gives a wrong impression.
Yeah.
Interesting that there's no one in the Sahara Desert that's playing, I see.
No. Sahara Desert is very much agnostic. They are 50-50. I should say they're equally as interested in Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they need it for the portability.
Portability.
Yeah.
Yep. And is this Iceland up? But that's ice.
No, that's Greenland.
Is it Greenland? Okay, so Iceland is
that Iceland?
Is that gray blob in between?
Maybe. I'm not.
So you can see, and I find New Zealand adorable down there, and American Samoa. Way down in the corner. Little blip blip. Xbox.
Madagascar too. They don't have a preference.
Yeah. So, and I was actually very surprised, if anything, what surprised me is that China is Xbox preferent.
Yeah.
Not by much, but Xbox preferent. I would have bet dollars to donuts that Xbox, that would be PlayStation, because of its, Asian connection with Japan. But I guess Xbox is more preferable to them. That's got to be a huge market for Microsoft. Huge market. I mean,
well, I also think
the rest of the world is also, but still.
I think the PC is bigger there just because it's open and China can exert more control over the PC than they can the console. So
that's true.
But okay, I'll get into. I have a bunch of positive Sony news and then some negative one to balance it out.
All right, let's do that.
In the positive, I always get them mixed up. Who's making Spider-Man? It's Insomniac. Sucker Punch does Tsushima. So Insomniac put out a video that shows off a new suit that they are adding to the Miles Morales game for PS5. And it is a suit based off of the Miles Morales character from Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie from a couple years ago. That in itself is neat, but what's really cool is that what that animated movie did is, in order to kind of show Miles being, a bit unsure of himself, he moved at a different frame rate than the other characters. And so what this suit does when you equip it is it lowers the frame rate of your character. So if you watch a video, you're moving in this kind of weird, jittery, almost stop motion like movement through the world. And it just looks really, really cool. And it's a technical Easter egg that looks really, the fact that they put all that effort into this Easter egg, I feel really bad for the Avengers game because this just makes it look bad. The fact that they have this promotional suit that not only is like a nice callback and Easter egg, but includes this really impressive technical gimmick. Yeah, the fact that they can do that and that they show it off in a way that is impressive. Yeah, this suit by itself made me think, oh shit, maybe I should get Miles Morales. Like I wasn't planning to, at least not initially, but it's like, oh shit, this actually looks really cool. So they also included like the comic book sound effects, you know, when you punch someone, kind of like the old 60s Batman, pow, wham, kablow. When you hit a guy, those words appear on them too. So it's purposely making it more comic booky and more cartoonish. So
yeah, and I forgot to put this in my notes, but did you hear the news about Marvel Avengers?
Probably, but I don't know what news you're talking about.
The fact that they are going free to play.
No, they're not.
The last dying vestige of a game.
Wait, the Marvel's Avengers game that came out 2 months ago.
That's what I've heard. Is it's going free to play?
No, that might have been a That might have been a rumor that you heard somewhere, but there is absolutely no official announcement about that.
Sure.
And yes, 110%. I'm sure because I want to play the single player, and Best Buy in their Black Friday ad advertised the game for $30 for half off, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I will get that. But
maybe
if they're advertising it for half off, that means it can't be going free.
Yeah, no, okay, I guess not. Where did I read that? It was one of those things that, you know, like you roll over in bed and it's a sleepy morning. It's like, I'm just gonna. I think it was yesterday because I only do that on weekends. So I rolled over and I pull up my phone to check the news, and there was something. I want to say it was on Forbes, and it was an opinion piece about how badly the Avengers is doing. But and it was written by a guy who's like, you know, I am a sucker.
Is it Paul Tassi? Paul Tassi is Forbes's video game guy.
I don't remember who it was, but I just remember the article or the piece. It really was an article. The piece starting out with, "Hey, look, I don't want to say kiss of death, but I have a real affinity to games that are failing. I have been there's just something about me. I end up playing a lot of these games that end up. So I've seen this progress of a game that comes out and all of the hallmarks of it. And that Marvel's Avengers is absolutely got this, you know, it's taking steps, all of the steps that games do right before they fail. Like they go into the dustbin. And I cannot remember. And I thought I read. I think it would make me read it because he's like, "Oh, is it going free to play?" And I didn't see it. I figured, well, you know, I'll save it for myself and catch it later. Because if it's gone free to play, it'll be all over the news. I'll catch it on Sunday when I do my research for the show. And then I didn't see it. And then you mentioned Marvel Avengers, and it reminded me of that article.
I don't know if it's going free to play, but I do believe that it's gone through all the steps of a dying game. Like it has gone through the Anthem route of player base dwindling. They're spending so much time on bug fixes that they are pushing back their DLC content. Mm-hmm. And this is supposed to be a live game. What is it? It came out in October, and they were supposed to in November. Oh no, it came out in September, and then October, November, December. Each month was supposed to have a new character to come into it. Obviously, we're in November, and there has been no new character, and there's now speculation that there won't be until December because they're spending so much time doing bug fixes. And they've also said, like, well, working from home from COVID also really messed up our schedule. The wildfires, people had to move because of that. So they've kind of been hit with a perfect storm of disasters, from literal natural disasters to the kind of self-inflicted publisher disaster of trying to launch a game that is clearly not ready to be launched and then having to spend the first couple months finishing the game, essentially. Yeah, it's not going free to play, but it is going that Anthem route of a dying game.
Yeah, in fact, I found the article, and I was wrong.
Cool.
It was out of The Gamer, by a guy named Eric Switzer, who, yeah, I mean, the title of the article is "Marvel Avengers has reached the penultimate phase of a dying game," and my bad, it's the next to the last step. They have already hit the first two. The first one is full of bugs to make it unplayable. The second, and that the patches are massive and don't really fix all the bugs. The second one is that you don't have anyone playing. And I think that he quotes that sometimes there's less than 1,000 players playing this game. And the third step that they haven't reached, but he's predicting that they're going to reach in short order, is going to be, it's going to turn free to play.
That would be a real tough pill to swallow, especially for Square Enix that expected the game to do very well.
Yeah.
If it was anyone but Square Enix, I might agree with you, but I cannot believe them in a million years would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he says the first step is the most obvious: release a busted product. And then the first step is the cause. If the first step is the cause, the second step is obviously the effect. The game has no players. Yeah, it has less than 1,000 concurrent players right now.
And I think he's probably looking at the PC charts to get that number.
Probably. But the third game, the third step, he says, going to go free to play.
Maybe. I doubt it, but also I've heard enough good things. I'm kind of
patting myself on the back because I tend to love games that are failing miserably, Battleborn being one of them. I mean, there's a number of games that have been like, I don't know, I'm kind of liking it. And I knew this was a bad game. From the minute I started playing it, I saw it was a bad idea. I mean, there was a couple of things that were like, yeah, this is cool. But yeah, that beta absolutely convinced me I did not want this game.
And I think a lot of people agree.
This time, I didn't buy it.
A lot of people agree that beta was not the best. But I've heard enough good things about the single-player campaign that I'm genuinely interested in exploring that at some point in the future.
Yep. Forget Your Life says, we keep tech out of the bedroom, otherwise we would never leave. I'm very disciplined that way. I only sit and check the news on my phone on a weekend. That is how I spend the first 30 minutes to an hour of my day on my weekend. Is I get to lie in bed, I call up the dog, we cuddle in bed, and then I check the news. And I love it. So your next item?
In further positive news, the media has gotten their hands on PlayStation 5s, and there have been unboxing videos and all that, and they've been able to talk about the pack-in game, Astro's... Shoot, it's not Astro's Playroom. No, wait, it is Astro's Playroom on PS5. They're able to talk about one level of that pack-in game, and everything they say about it is that it's fucking incredible. Not because of the game, but because it is a really mind-blowing showcase for the controller. And everything I've heard about the controller, and it's like, it's super like haptic feedback is really interesting. Like, people are saying you can close your eyes and you can tell when you're walking across dirt, ice, sand, or gravel because of the way that the controller rumbles. And everything that it feels, what people have been saying is that it feels like a truly next-gen update to the controller. Like, it feels like something actually new, not just a gimmick. And the problem is that, will third-party developers actually take advantage of all this stuff? But at the very least, Astro's Playroom serves as a template to say that, look, this stuff works. It works really well, and it's genuinely like it feels like a new gaming experience when you do it well. And that's really, really cool. Like it's neat. It's reassuring, you know, to instead of just like, oh, it's another controller and it's another console and they're kind of just doing the same thing that they do before, but things look better. To know that there is this technological advancement behind it, at least with the controller, that actually does feel like it changes the way that it plays and actually does feel like a significant upgrade to what you currently have. That's cool.
That's kind of neat. I'm interested to know, you know, I still, not gonna lie, I still want a PlayStation 4, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get one at this point. Although, along those same lines,
and forget your life in the chats. Well, wait. First, I want to say, he mentioned that, oh, they had HD Rumble 3 years ago on the Switch. I have heard everyone say this controller does what that advertised. That basically all the stuff Nintendo was saying about their HD Rumble, once they actually got their hands on it, they were like, eh. But this feels like that idea done right.
Right.
So that also makes me excited.
Yeah. Along those same lines, might as well hit my next item. That if you do not have a PlayStation or an Xbox 360 or Xbox Series X, it was, first off, Best Buy has released its Black Friday sales, and don't get me wrong, they're freaking incredible. There are some really, really good deals. There's some not so great, but from what they're showing right now, their deals are incredible. Way better than Prime Day. Way better than Prime Day.
Okay. Can I just say, I have always noticed that Prime Day sucks. Like, it's always this thing Amazon shows off, oh, it's Prime Day. But all it really is just an excuse for them to, like, sell cheap versions of, like, their Alexa shit. But everything else is like, yeah, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Nothing else interesting is on sale. The Prime Day sale is always, like, a wash from my perspective. I just had to get that off my chest. It always feels like a big buildup to just a sad, wet fart.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. But if you, in addition to that, according to the Best Buy Black Friday ads, there you're going to have another chance to get Xboxes and PlayStation 5s. According to their ad that they released I think it was either yesterday or today. Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and PlayStation 5 will receive limited restock, but only available online. They will not be putting it in the stores because they don't want people showing up at the door and hanging out during COVID when it's spreading like wildfire again.
I feel like that is the officially confirming what I speculated about earlier.
Yeah,
my friend was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and you were right, and I'm really glad that they're not doing it in stores because there's just was no way I was going to go stand in line. Just fuck no. There's certain things that are worth getting COVID for, and that's not one of them.
It's also just kind of weird to think that, like, oh yeah, the Black Friday they're going to get more in stock. Well, yeah, because by Black Friday they will officially be out
and released, right?
Yeah, it's weird to think. For me personally, like, between the new consoles and the election, like, there are these two major endpoints that the whole rest of the year has been building up to, and it's just weird to think, like, oh wait, there is stuff happening after these things.
Right.
Like Thanksgiving.
Life is going on.
Like, oh, Thanksgiving happens after all this stuff. It's like I spent the last, like, 11 months waiting for these things to happen. It's like, oh shit, what am I going to do when it's over?
Yeah. Yep.
It's just kind of weird.
So it is important to say that the consoles are not going to be, like I said, not going to be available in the stores. So do not head out to the stores on Black Friday expecting to find a console, any of those consoles. They are not going to be available intentionally for that reason.
And I would probably say follow Wario64 on Twitter, because he's the person that always had like up-to-date announcements on game sales and releases, and he will probably be able to give you like on-the-nose information about when these things will be available online.
Right.
Because I don't think Best Buy is going to announce, oh, we're putting up, like, we're going to have it on sale on Black Friday specifically, or will it be a day before, or will it be a day after?
Right.
You know,
right.
What time will it go on sale? Midnight Black Friday or 1 a.m.? Like, what is it? So,
and I also want to point out that it doesn't mean that the Best Buy is not going to be open on Black Friday. Oh, indeed, it will, but there won't be any consoles there. There are going to be games, there's going to be the accessories and all that other stuff, but they're just not going to have the actual consoles there. And just so you know, they're going to be opening, they're closed on Thanksgiving, brilliantly, finally, but they're going to be opening at 5 a.m. local time, wherever you are, which is pretty much fucking Thanksgiving for everybody anyway.
I look, at least they're not open Thanksgiving. At least we forced the companies to like not do that shit. Right. Like at least they're not opening 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving. Like we were able to push them back at least a day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Did you? I know you pre-ordered your PlayStation 5 through Best Buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you checked your email for a pickup appointment?
I don't have pickup. It's getting delivered.
Oh, okay. I'm doing an in-store pickup. That's how I ordered it, because that's why I ordered the second one, because I didn't trust that Microsoft would get me one on release day, and I wanted to make sure. But my pickup, because I had an in-store pickup ordered, I had to make an appointment. You were not on when I said this on told the rest of the the chat, but I had a choice of 6:30 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m., or 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday. That's all. That was when they were. That's all they were going to do, and I was one of the first to make my appointment. I mean, like 5 minutes after I got that email, I made the appointment. So, and this is just my local store. So it wasn't like I was competing with everybody else that had a console. It was just the people that were picking up at that store. So I had to set it for 7:30 a.m. because I wasn't going to wake up at 5:30 to go get a PlayStation and then start work.
Oh, Xbox.
But I also wasn't
Xbox, right?
Xbox. Right. Sorry. Did I say a PlayStation? I meant Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So,
okay, so I hit both of my positive Sony things. In between, Sony is reportedly going to buy Crunchyroll for $957 million.
Really?
Yep.
I did not see that.
And yes, Sony has been licensing a bunch of anime shows, but the most surprising thing about this is that I honestly did not think Crunchyroll was worth that much. I don't know. Maybe like there's some inflation
Almost
going
$1 billion?
but the fact that Crunchyroll is worth $1 billion, like what? Shit! I didn't realize how popular anime was.
Yeah, it's gotten way more popular than in the last few years than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Also, and I guess related to that was the announcement that the PlayStation would have the Crunchyroll app on day one. On the
I did see something about that. I did see that Xbox basically has all the video apps. PlayStation will not, and I didn't see exactly there, but there are some notable streaming apps that the PS5 will not have at launch.
Mm-hmm. PC Ray says maybe Sony will do better at paying translators. Not bloody likely. No, I would say that would be a big fat no. I'm wondering if that is going to affect how anime streams to the Xbox or any Microsoft products.
Maybe, like, in theory, they could like not have Crunchyroll on Xbox. Like, that's totally a thing.
Yeah, could do that.
And yeah, Crunchyroll will be on PS5 at launch. In addition, the streaming video apps available on PS5 day one are Apple TV, Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, Twitch, and YouTube. So interesting that there's no Prime, there's no Hulu, there's also no HBO Max or Peacock, no CBS All Access, no Funimation. So there's a surprising number of apps that are going to be available on PlayStation.
Yeah. So, Nick, I'm going to make you carry the show for a second.
Okay.
I got to go. I'll be right back.
Okay. In that case, the negative Sony news. I spent so long like being a little hesitant about their backwards compatibility because they had initially announced like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, and then they say, oh, the 100 most popular games will be playable, and then they're like, no, a vast majority. And then they came out recently and said like, no, we tested 99%, and like these are the 10 games that will not work on PS5. And it was 10 games that, for the most part, I think people could easily live without. Turns out that list may not be 100% complete. So that list, Ubisoft has recently updated its list of compatible games for PS5. And it turns out there's a bunch of Assassin's Creed games that will not be available on PS5. Well, that will not work on PS5. The most significant one being Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the last in the traditional Assassin's Creed games before it made the jump to its new format with Origins. But also the 2D side-scrolling Assassin's Creed Chronicles, India, China, and Russia. Also, Star Trek Bridge Crew, which I think was a VR game. Another game of theirs called Werewolves Within, Space Junkies, and their Risk game. So it's a little unsettling that even after Sony... Yes, AC Wraith in chat says, update, Ubisoft no longer sure. Even after Sony puts out a list that says, these are the 10 games that do not work. You have a publisher now putting out a new list saying, well, also these things will not work. And I wonder if it's just a matter of time before EA comes out with a list that says, well, now these games also won't work. Activision comes out and says, well, also these games won't work. And it also brings into question just how much did Sony actually test the games that they said that they would test. I guess, okay, AC Wraith is now linking that Ubisoft said which games won't work on PS5, but now it's not sure. So now they're not sure if it won't. Again, this brings into question just how much Sony actually did test that backwards compatibility and just how trustworthy that original list is. If even Ubisoft now isn't quite sure what will work or what won't work. And yeah, it's, as someone who has, a bunch of PS4 games, it's a little frustrating.
All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. I just got violently ill. So we will see how much longer we can go.
Okay.
So next item is that I have is that I don't know if you just hit this, but there has been another Xbox launch title that is no longer an Xbox launch title at the moment. What was it? The Ascent?
The Ascent? I don't know that one.
From Neon Giant. I don't know why I'm not remembering it either, which doesn't really seem like a good idea when I don't even remember a launch title when it gets announced that it's delayed. 2020. I'm looking for the there we go. Is this it? No, that's a movie. Anyway, the Ascent game. There we go. The Xbox review.
Action RPG.
Yeah. So, Neon Giant announced that this week that the game has now been pushed to 2021. And this, of course, comes after Halo Infinite also got kind of put on the back burner. Not the back burner, but delayed as well. So that's another launch title that isn't going to be coming out at launch for the Xbox. It's not saying that there aren't same things going on for PlayStation, but still, and it's not like this isn't unusual. Many times the launch title doesn't actually make the launch. And I say launch title with air quotes. But yeah, that's happening.
Well, jumping off of that, Destruction All-Stars. It was a launch game for PlayStation 5 that they had advertised. That is also being delayed into 2021, specifically into February, where they have then said that it will be a PS Plus game.
Really?
Which honestly feels like the best thing for that game, because that game went on sale for $70. But it was it's a multiplayer only game that looks like the kind of thing that will live or die by its player base. And we just haven't seen enough of it to really, there hasn't been a lot of hype around it. And it almost feels like one of those launch games that's kind of sent out to die. Because between Miles Morales and Demon's Souls, those feel like the PS5 launch games with all the hype around them. No one would go with Destruction All-Stars. A few people would. And also, they just haven't shown off enough of what that game actually is to kind of make it stand with those other two super popular games. And so having it be delayed and then become a PS Plus game feels like a good thing for that game, because that just means more people will be able to download it and try it out and hopefully stick with it. But also, that's one less game that you can play on PlayStation at launch. And speaking of delays, we've got a trifecta too.
Oh, really?
First of all, a week before it was supposed to launch, Cyberpunk has been delayed into December. So it's one of those situations where there's been news stories that came out that most of the developers didn't even know about this delay. And in fact, the social media team, people had asked, like, hey, can we get confirmation that there won't be any delay? And the social media team responded a day before this announcement was made, yes, confirmation that there will be no further delays. A day later, I'm sorry, we're delayed a month.
Oh, my God. So I read something about this, and I don't know if it is true, that the delay is partially due to it being the versions for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, not for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series One X.
Yes, I think in the statement, or in a statement that someone from CD Projekt said, is that it's mainly more time to get it to work on these current gen PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles. Like that is where the true difficulty lies, and also just the general difficulty of trying to launch on 9 different platforms at once, because you've got PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Stadia, and PC, and okay, maybe 6, not 9. But yes, they're launching on a lot of different platforms at once. So
right. So yeah. It's so funny that Xbox or that Cyberpunk 2077 was like the darling, the absolute darling of the world. Like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, about how they treat their people well and they've got their shit together and they're making a great game. And all of a sudden now we're starting to see the little man behind the curtain and it's like, oh yeah, there's going to be a crunch. Crunch? Oh yes, there will be crunch. Are we going to be delayed? No, we're not going to be delayed. Yes, we're going to be delayed. You're starting to see that they're really not as perfect as everyone had been making them out to be. And
Yes.
to be honest, how they were making themselves out to be. They said a lot of things. They wrote a lot of checks with their mouths that maybe they didn't realize their body couldn't cash, but clearly their body couldn't cash it. And it was always too late before they realized that they were unable to cash.
Yes. So in addition to that delay, we've also got two more coming from Ubisoft. Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine are both delayed into next year. And they haven't given a specific date, but just sometime within the 2021 to 2022 year.
It's delayed.
So what's interesting is Rainbow Six Quarantine was likely to come out in December. So this is a delay from this year. Far Cry 6 was going to come out in February next year, but it's already been delayed even further than that.
Right.
And so Rainbow Six Quarantine is still speculated to arrive within the Ubisoft's fiscal year ending on March. So it's still expected to come out within the first 3 months of next year. Far Cry is less certain.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. AC Wraith throws he's so passive aggressive when he wants us to talk about something. He doesn't actually say, hey, can you talk about this? He just pops a link in the chat that says Watch Dogs Legion out now.
Oh yeah, I know it's out, which is weird because it feels like it should be a bigger thing. But I've definitely listened to people on podcasts talking about Watch Dogs Legion and giving reviews about it, and it sounds like it's pretty good.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Stevenson says, so the decks are cleared for Valhalla. Oh yeah.
Kind of. Well, Valhalla and the Immortals Phoenix Rising, which also had like a demo that I've heard good things about. So, fuck, man. Hey, stop, cat, fucking eating the couch. Hey, gonna throw my slippers at him. Get the fuck out of there. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, Ubisoft. Ubisoft delayed 2 of the big games, but they also have 2 big games that are out now. So, and no, 3 with Watch Dogs, Valhalla, and Immortals. So, Ubisoft kind of in a good position going into the launch, where they will have probably the most
they will have the most amount of games.
new games. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right. My next item.
Jesus, now he's scratching at the carpet. He woke up from his nap and now he's like, yo,
oh, this is Shepard? This isn't Hellcat?
No, Jupiter's still sleeping on the bed. Shepard woke up from his nap in the sunbeam and now he's like, I want to play, I want to eat. Pay attention to me.
In bad news for everybody, especially during the quarantine. And of course, it's the quarantine. Why wouldn't they do it? Did I not make a banner for this? I did not. All right, let me make a banner real quick. So I have something to talk about. Netflix is going to have a price increase. Yes, my friends, whatever you're paying, you're going to be paying more. Chances are. I think they've increased the price of everything. 2 of their pricing tiers are going up. The standard tier, which let's face it, everybody's got the standard tier. Almost everybody. That allows the streaming on 2 devices at the same time. It's going from $13 to $14 a month. And the premium tier, and that's the one that allows streaming on 4 devices and Ultra HD viewing, it jumps from $16 to $18 a month. The basic tier, which is the streaming on 1 device, is going to remain at $9 a month. And this is not the first price increase they've had recently. If you recall, in January of 2019, so January last year, they also had a price increase for all 3 tiers. So, yeah, just in time, because they know it's quarantine. Everybody's watching Netflix, and because professional disclosure, I do hold stock in Netflix. So, and yes, I did buy that right at the beginning of the quarantine.
Oh, nice, good timing.
As soon as the quarantine happened, I'm like, buy Netflix, and yeah, that's done well for me. But yeah, so just full disclosure, I am a shareholder in Netflix.
I also saw, oh shoot, I don't have the story for this, and I don't want to look it up, but I feel like they announced that they were going to make another video game adaptation.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh yes, yeah, they're going to have an Assassin's Creed TV show.
I have way more faith in them doing a good Assassin's Creed TV show than anybody else, than any movie company doing Assassin's Creed. I would love to see Netflix actually do a what's the Nathan Drake
Uncharted.
I would love to see them do an Uncharted series.
I mean, it's not Netflix. It's the people. Each show is its own individual thing. Like Castlevania was great because of those specific people behind it. The Witcher, I like The Witcher, and I liked it because of those specific people behind it. Sure, Assassin's Creed, like, okay, let's see how that works out. They're doing a Resident Evil one. Fuck, sure, let's see how that goes. I know they have a Dragon's Dogma anime. I haven't seen it yet, but
I haven't seen it yet too, but I want to.
Yeah, it's on my list. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, this kind of feels like a thing that should have happened 5 years ago. But I guess, Assassin's Creed is still super popular, so why not finally do something about it?
Yep. And if you don't have anything else, I have a couple more.
I had one thing. No. Well, just a little thing about Halo Infinite has lost another director. So after it was delayed,
I actually had that.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah, after it got delayed the first time, I think one of its director left, and now recently another director has left and is looking for future opportunities. He has stepped back.
Right. Yeah. So Chris Lee has left, and of course, this is not long after Halo Infinite was delayed to an unspecified date in 2021. So Lee confirmed the news with Bloomberg, and he said that he's stepped back from his role on Halo Infinite, despite there being no release date now. He says, though, despite that, that he's pretty confident that you're going to see a great game next year. He is the second director to leave this game in the last 2 years. Halo Infinite, let's see, who did they lose last year? Tim Longo left in August of 2019. Executive producer Mary Olson left in October of 2019. And then now Chris Lee has left. Microsoft did say that Chris Lee is still a Microsoft employee. So it's not like he left the job. He's just leaving the project. So, yeah, this does not instill
troubled
much
development.
Confidence. I don't know. It still doesn't give me a lot of confidence in this game. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then my next item is my next to the last item is that if you were hoping for your PlayStation 5 to be able to replace your faceplates and customize it, make it look cool, and you were going to a third-party company, especially one named Customize My Plates that were selling custom faceplates. Bad news, they have shut down, or at least they are no longer selling and have canceled all the orders for custom faceplates for the PS5 in the wake of Sony threatening them with a lawsuit. They spoke to VGC, and one of their representatives from Customize My Plates. It was known as PlayStation 5 up until a couple of days ago, as if they were freaking asking for it. They confirmed that they were canceling all plate orders, and they had received legal threats as the reason, and that was the reason why they were shutting down their sales of the plates. Sony said, according to the representative, that the plates were infringing on their own trademarks. And that if his quote was, Sony's lawyers told us it was in their opinion that Sony intellectual property extended to the faceplates, and if we continued to sell and distribute them in any country, we would end up in court. So rather than take that chance, they have just canceled all the orders, and they are now only selling decals.
Yeah.
Stickers.
Probably a good
vinyl
idea.
sheets, essentially to cover the plates if you want to customize them.
Yeah, like that shape is unique enough. It probably is covered by Sony's copyright or trademark.
Probably,
but it also raises the question of, did they do this simply because they want to protect, like, we want it to be this white thing, or are they planning on selling replacement plates of their own at some point? It's a situation where
probably the former, and they want to have options for the latter.
Yeah, because I know oftentimes when you see a developer crack down on some fan-made project, it usually means that they're working on something similar. Like, I know we saw this with Halo Wars specifically. There was a fan-made Halo strategy game that got a cease and desist because Microsoft was doing their own thing, and that's happened with Nintendo a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that it's probably they want to keep it white for the moment, and then the faceplates would be special editions. Because ostensibly, it's a very easy thing to make that a special edition PlayStation. All you have to do is put a different color faceplate on it. And if you can go out and make a faceplate in that color, then it's no longer special, and they can't upcharge
True,
for
I guess that would completely undercut the ability to sell special edition PlayStation 5s. But also, if my special edition PlayStation 5 is just, oh yeah, we added new faceplates, and like, that feels kind of, I would feel kind of ripped off from that. I'm like, I spent $500 for a new console, and basically I could just take these faceplates off and put them on thing. Because it's the fact that they had that video that shows, oh, these things are very easily removable. Like, they were setting themselves up for this to a certain degree.
Well, they might not be selling special edition consoles, but they might sell special edition faceplates.
True. And I guess that'd be easier pill to swallow than,
and that people would probably buy more of them simply because, and there's probably a way bigger profit margin on pieces of plastic than there are on a console.
Oh yeah, buy these special edition faceplates for $100.
Right, or $50, and it's something like $49.95 of it is profit. Whereas if you sold the console with it, you could sell it for $600, but only, like $100, maybe $15 of it is going to be, it just becomes way more expensive to produce. Whereas if you can produce a special edition something with just, injection mold stuff that you can just pump out as fast as you want, then that's the way to do it. And my last item is, let's see. Yes, my last item is kind of cool news. November's PlayStation Plus or PS Plus free games are going to be Hollow Knight Void Heart Edition and Middle Earth Shadow of War, which are going to be available on November 3rd. And as a bonus, Bug Snacks is going to be a free game as well on November.
But Bugsnax is only going to be available for PS5.
No, it's coming. It's a PlayStation console exclusive, and it's going to be free to subscribe. Actually, I take that back. It's going to be free to subscribers on launch day, and it's going to release for the PS5 and the PS4 on November 12th. Bug Snacks.
Huh. I thought Bugsnax was only on PS5.
And PS4, November 12th. Only the PS5 version is going to be free for PS Plus subscribers. And in addition, you are going to have a longer window to pick it up. It's going to be available for promotion on that free promotion for PS5 until January 4th.
Okay, so wait. Yeah, so Bugsnax is only available. It's only available on PS Plus for PlayStation 5. It will You can play it on PS4, but you got to buy it.
Right.
Okay.
And for PS5, it's available for free until November 4th.
I mean, this makes sense. Like when PlayStation 4 launched, they kept PlayStation 3 games as part of the PS Plus subscription for like a year, I think, or a couple months. So I would expect them to do something similar.
Right. Yeah, and that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's I don't know. Bugsnax looks like a pretty fun game. I think I would probably like it. The question is, am I going to have a PlayStation?
I've seen
before January.
I saw a Giant Bomb video where they played Bugsnax, and it looks charming as hell. And I would happily play that game.
Yeah.
All I do is have to take a moment to shit on Hollow Knight and say that game is extremely overrated.
Is it?
I hated Hollow Knight.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not good. It's bad.
What didn't you like about it?
Everything.
Could you be more specific?
I could. It's been a while. I don't know. Go back and find the podcast where I talked about Hollow Knight. But it's a 2D Souls-like game that I just felt kind of dropped the ball in everything except the animation. Like, it looks nice, but just the act of going through the world is a pain in the ass. The combat's a pain in the ass. Exploration is a pain in the ass. Everything about it is just a pain in the ass.
AC Ray says something about the dodge.
Yeah, that's right. There was no dodge. At least not what I got. Like, I guess once you beat the first boss or something, then you get a dodge, but I couldn't bear getting to that point, and fuck that game.
I'm going to put some Hollow Knight gameplay on here just so that it can torture you a little bit.
Sure. Like, it's a well-animated game. Like, it's beautiful to look at. It's just shitty to play, in my opinion. I am like in the vast minority of this. This is like my controversial gaming opinion, but I fucking hated Hollow Knight. I think it's bad. I know a lot of other people love it and swear by it. My brother swears by it. I think it's not even worth free to me.
Wow, that's saying something. So Ryan Stevenson says, have you seen the Mario Kart Live? I picked up a car for our girls for Christmas. Looks pretty cool.
Once they play with it for Christmas, I would really love to hear your experiences with it, because that looks like a cool thing. That was the thing Nintendo announced, where you basically create a Mario Kart track in your own home with a little RC Mario Kart car. And yeah, it looks really cool. So I would absolutely love to hear about their experiences with it come Christmas time.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now so that you can see what it is. It looks really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an AR game-ish? Sort of?
Yeah, it's like you take the RC car, and then you kind of say, map this track, and then you drive it around, and it maps that track and remembers it, so that then when you get back to the starting point, it kind of puts AR gates around. because there's a camera on the RC card so that you're looking at it from the point of view of the RC car and driving around. So it's almost like playing Micro Machines from the point of view of the Micro Machine.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I see kids really loving that. Your girls are going to love that. You are best dad ever, Ryan. I wish I had you for a dad. So yeah, that's all I got for today as far as stuff to talk about. It's that time of year that the I actually have to turn on the lights for the end of this show because it's too dark.
Yeah,
I mean, look how dark it is in my room. It's so dark in here. So I'm thinking of doing some Crusader Kings tonight. Going on with the story. You know, it's a combination of gameplay and history. So history lesson about Ivar the Boneless, and we go all the way through in the history to Ivar the Boneless's death from where we stopped. So, and then we'll do some playing of Ivar. So check that out on this stream. Don't forget, like and subscribe down here for that stuff, because if you do the subscribe, ooh, my lights are flickering. If you hit the subscribe and the notification bell, you will get notifications when we go live. But definitely check it out tonight. And I would love to have more people join in and listen and learn, and you can come away, as opposed to the rest of the GameHounds podcast. You actually come away smarter.
We lower your IQ enough, we may as well try to lift it a little bit.
Right. And if you're listening on the audio stream, it is at YouTube. I'm going to only put it to YouTube. I'm not going to put it to Twitch. It is YouTube under GameHounds Vids, VIDS, as in videos. And of course, please feel free to hit the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/GameHounds and throw us some love. We're only asking for $1 a month. That helps supplement the cost of, the stuff we have to pay for, because I like to think all of this would be free in a perfect world, that all of this is free. It is not by a long shot. So anything else you want to add before we close out the show, Nick?
That was all I had.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week with Andrew. Yeah. So I'm sure he's going to have a ton of games. And let's see.
In 2 weeks.
Next Sunday is going to be 2 days before I pick up the Xbox.
Yes, but in 2 weeks we will have reviews of the consoles.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Did you get an Xbox?
Yeah, I got both.
So you got both. So you can actually do a head-to-head. I can only do one, at least for right now.
I'm looking forward to downloading all those Game Pass games to the Xbox, and I'm looking forward to feeling what that PlayStation controller is like.
Yeah, it's going to be It's going to be a busy month, my friend. A very busy month.
Yep.
All right. So let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 569. We recorded this on November 1st, 2020. I have been Edie Sellers, and with me has been Nick DiNicola. Ways to get a hold of us is gamehounds.net is our website, and our email is gamehounds@gmail.com. If you want to listen to this show live, we record it every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. That's speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. You can join us live and listen to us, or if you want to actually see our happy, smiley faces while we do it, we do have an audio video stream simulcast on Twitter, and on Twitch, and on Facebook. On Twitter, we are, sorry, did I say Twitter? I meant Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids. On Twitch, we are The GameHounds, and on Facebook, we are The GameHounds. Join us. We would love to have you in the chat room. By the way, the chat room, you guys were awesome. Brian Stevenson, AC Wraith, of course, our link bitch, who provides every link about everything we even barely mention. He provides a link in the comment section on all 4 of these platforms: Spreaker, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you've something you want to find, game we talked about, go to the comments section. All those links are there. But we also had AC Wraith. Well, we mentioned AC Wraith. We had Corey Wallace, and we had a couple of other people. Forget Your Life. Thank you so much for joining us. And finally, do I have anything else? Oh, yeah. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. On Twitter, we are GameHounds. On Facebook, we are The GameHounds. And we'll be back next week on Sunday. Nick, have a great weekend. And also don't forget to watch that Crusader Kings 3 that's coming up probably in the next 45 minutes to an hour, where we will take over the world. Have a great night, Nick.
You too.
All right. Bye, everyone. Be safe. So yeah, seriously, be safe, guys. Man, the COVID is just
Yeah, it's just
we're
Oh.
we're doing
No.
pretty good here in California. We're doing all right. We are lower than we have been in a very long time, and although we're ticking up, our line is just kind of doing this. It's just a little up this way. Not much, but it's a little increase. Places like Wisconsin are fucked. Texas now has more cases than California has had.
Yeah. What do you know? The places that don't do shit are the places that are seeing a huge increase.
Yeah, and yes, I know that Nick and I are both Californians. You know, you're freaking liberal Californians, but dudes, COVID doesn't care whether you are a liberal or a conservative. They don't care. It does not care. It just cares you're a warm body. Wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance. Do not go into indoor areas with other people, not social distancing for any reason right now, especially if you're not in California, even if you're not in California. Well, especially not if you're in California, because that's where I live. But no matter where you are, don't do it. I mean, it's shutting down England again. But we knew there was going to be another surge when the cold weather hit, and it did. It absolutely freaking did. So yeah, please, everyone, be very careful. We don't have many listeners. We don't want to lose you.
Don't die on us.
Don't die. Please don't die on us. Yeah, I was reading a story. Not a story. It was actually a tweet from somebody on my Twitter feed who was like, we were not so sure about this COVID thing being really as bad as it was. And then my brother-in-law caught it, and he was in the hospital for 5 weeks, 2 of them in the ICU, and he just got his bill.
Oh.
So
is that something you read, or is that something that happened to you?
No, happened to somebody that I follow on Twitter.
Okay, so
actually somebody I know through Twitter. It's not like
okay.
It's not like just somebody, some random person I follow. This is actually somebody who I've conversed with on Twitter.
That person's brother-in-law.
Yeah, got the bill, almost $500,000.
Jesus.
Yeah, COVID kills in more ways than one.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to kill you to take you down.
Who needs universal health care?
Yeah.
Not us.
Yeah. AC Ray says, I'm going to vote in person and hoping no biological terrorists show up. Unfortunately, we have mail-in ballots, which I have to send mine in still. And let me also say this, is that in California, just the next county over in Solano County, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, we had our first confirmed case of a co-infection of the flu and COVID-19.
Oh.
Go get your flu shot. Even if you're young and healthy and you've never had a flu shot before, just do it this year. Please, just do it this year. Because that is some shit you do not want. You do not want to get both of those together. Well wishes to Scott from the In-Game Chat podcast who was diagnosed 2 weeks ago. Oh no. Oh no. I hate hearing about anybody because I know, like I said, it's even if it's just, you're only in the hospital for a little while and don't go into ICU, it still can destroy you financially. So if you don't believe in stuff, believe in money. There's just be greedy. I am greedy enough that I don't want to catch it, not because I'm so worried about I mean, I am. I'm obviously worried about dying, but even if, like that dying, it seems like a odd concept. What having a bill is not an odd concept. A medical bill can fuck you in this country. So yeah. Ryan Stevenson said we got our flu shots last week. Good for you, dude. Thank you for doing the right thing. So, all right, I'm gonna please. Ryan Stevenson says, please take this seriously. Wear a mask, everyone. Yeah, wear a mask. Wear a mask, and don't hang around people that aren't wearing masks. I don't care if they're family members. I don't care if you love them to death. I don't care if you are sure that they don't have it. If they're not part of your family pod, don't hang out with them. Just for right now. It'll all go back to normal eventually.
Don't hold your breath about that, though.
Jeez, he had a minor stroke just a few weeks
Scott
before
from
that.
the In-Game Chat podcast too had a stroke, and then a couple weeks later gets COVID. That is
wow.
That's shitty.
Bad.
Yeah,
that's shitty. 2020 is bad for everybody in different levels of bad. All right, so have a great week. Take care. Be good. Be careful. Be safe. Wear your mask. Don't rub your eyes. Don't stick your fingers in your nose. Wash your hands constantly. And we will see you next week. Bye, Nick. Bye, everyone.